Hello to all of you wonderful people to the newest episode, or episode 54 of Weird Mind Newsroom, where we delve into some of the new releases of the week, a fair selection of some trailers, and even a mixed array of some news stories. So without further ado, let's get into the content that came out this week.
Oh shit! A spy!
Start this week with a warning. For those with a fear of arachnids may want to turn away now, as we start off the week with the first of the new releases with the new creature feature of Sting. The film follows rebellious 12-year-old Charlotte, who finds a small spider in her rundown apartment. Oh, I get it now. She keeps it in a jar as a pet, but as soon as it starts growing at a monstrous rate and develops an insatiable appetite for blood. As the neighbors start disappearing, Charlotte and her family will have to fight to survive and stop this arachnid menace. Reception for this film has surprisingly been well received for its concept and execution, though only people in a mixed response of seeing similar films before. Something about the marketing for me just didn't really appeal to me, so I might give it a look. Seems to be decently alright, but if you want to catch this new creature feature for yourself, you can check this film out now in cinemas. As for the second film of the week, is taking a dip into some new biographical side of things to a story from a century ago, as we will have the new true story film of The Young Woman and the Sea. This film tells the story of Trudy Elderly, a competitive swimmer who in 1926 was the first woman to ever swim across the English Channel, and showed that those who had no faith in her, mainly a lot of men, were very sexist, that anything is possible. Reception for this film has also been very well received, with praise for a powerful story and buoyed by a strong performance from Daisy Ridley. If you want to check this film out for yourself, you can catch this new film out now in cinemas.
Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here, and for a new format, I'll have giving a new deep look into a documentary this time.
As we're taking a look at one of the finest creators of the industry from the past, as we have received the all-new documentary film of Jim Henson, Idea Man. This new documentary will explore the creative ideas and genius of the late Jim Henson, and how his ideas and passion would create some of the most iconic characters of recent memory, ones from Sesame Street, The Dark Crystal, and of course the Muppets and their leading frog of Kermit, as well as the clear love and work together with his wife of Jane. Reception for this documentary has been actually very well received, with praise for the love of the creator and for the feel-good heartfelt creations. And if you want something to watch to feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside, you can check out this new documentary out now on Disney+. And the final release for this week, technically already released in the past, however this one has seen a bit of a fix, change and update, has now been brought back to life and ready for more battles and pies to fly, and has received the return of the fighting game of Multiversus. This game will have you in a Smash Bros. Like all-out brawl that will see you play as many of your favorite characters owned by the Warner Bros., including the DC and Batman, Looney Tunes, Scooby-Doo, Adventure Time, Rick and Morty, and many more, with more new ones on the way. Reception of this game has been well received for its gameplay and character stats and fun for multiplayer games, though it has seen a fair bit of backlash since its launch a couple of days ago, due to the case of this being a free-to-play game is chock full of microtransactions and a progression system where a lot of characters are locked behind a basic progression system, which I don't mind, but yeah, it's a bit tedious kind of thing. But if you're up for some brawling hijinks with friends or alone, you can play this new game now on PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and PC. With all that, that's all the new releases that we have for this week.
If you start singing, I'm gonna throw up.
What can I say except it's a new trailer for a return to the vast oceans that have called out to our main heroine, as we received a first full-length trailer look at the sequel to Moana. Now, this new film will see Moana and Maui head off on a new journey to the far seas of Oceania after receiving an unexpected call from her wayfinding ancestors from beyond to explore a new journey, probably with more new global characters along the way. Now, the trailer does not tell us much on the basis of the plot, but gives us a first look at the dazzling visuals, and from what I've seen, it does look pretty. It does look really nice, so kind of visually wise. But I will be checking this film out when the film releases on November 29th. The next trailer for this week is an all-new film from the director of the multi-award-winning film about a reanimated woman discovering the world for the first time all over again, with new life with the mind of a child in her head, but with a more new modern-day setting from Yorgos Lanthimos, the director of Poor Things, with his new film of Kinds of Kindness. This film will follow 3 different stories that revolve around a man who tries to take control of his own life, a policeman whose wife seems like a different person, and a woman who searches for a woman with some special ability. It's hard to say of a clear narrative idea of what how all this will come together or what it's really trying to tell, but I'm sure with Yorgos there'll be some deeper meaning to the whole film. And so far, what I've seen from from the reception out of Cannes Film Festival seems like some really strong reception and even some possible Oscar buzz for one of the leads of things like Jesse Plemons. So it might be in for some mass appeal. I'm sure it'll be worth a look when this film releases in just under a month's time on June 28th. Next up, it's time to see two big stars from one of the most well-known and beloved heist film franchises, as Brad Pitt and George Clooney are teaming up again for an all-new thriller-based comedy known as Wolves. That's Wolves with a W-O-L-F-S. The two leads will be playing a pair of professional fixers who find themselves both hired for the same job and to deal with upcoming dangerous and chaotic events. They are forced to work together to, survive, deal with some situations, and get out without being seen. That's been a case that it's been a while since I've seen these two in anything. Like Brad Pitt, I think the last I remember was Once Upon a Time or Ad Astra. George Clooney, I think he's been directing stuff, so, it does look like a fairly decent and entertaining film for the pair of them, and I'm sure I'll probably give this a look into when this film releases in the cinemas on September 20th. And it's time for one last trip through time for one last fixing of the timelines before an apocalypse can occur, as we've received the trailer for the final season of The Umbrella Academy. And of course, this will follow the remaining group of late-rich billionaire Reginald Hargreaves. They travelled all four of the past and present in order to save the world from doom and gloom as superpowered individuals, and messing about with the timeline because that's how it works. No, it's a case I have not watched much of this show, this series in particular, but it's on the list of stuff I need to catch up on because I've heard a lot of great things about this in particular. And you don't have to wait too much longer for this, as the final season will be premiering onto Netflix from August 8th. With all of that, that's all the trailers that we have for this week. So we're starting the news off this week with an update to a story that was unveiled just at the very end of last week, and this comes with the announcement of that third movie in the Knives Out series of Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. Now, we had known that there was going to be a third one in the series, and that every film so far in this trilogy has had a massive cast list, with both Knives Out and Glass Onion coming in with a stacked wonderful cast, including names like Ana Armas, Chris Evans, Catherine Hahn, Dave Bautista, Edward Norton, Janelle Monáe, Kate Hudson, like so many big names all throughout the two films, and always such a fucking stacked cast, along with our main lead of Daniel Craig as Detective Benoit Blanc. And it looks like this week we have seen some of the stars that will be appearing as of writing, and we'll delve into the cast that's appeared so far confirmed for this third entry. So it started the casting list on Tuesday, where Challenger star Josh O'Connor and Civil War and upcoming Alien Romulus star Kylie Spaney will be the first of the two additions in the cast. Later that day, we saw the casting of Irish actor Andrew Scott, who you may have seen in All of Us Strangers, as well as playing Moriarty in that Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock series. Then on the following day on Wednesday, we got the casting of Scandal star Kerry Washington, and later that evening we got the acting royalty of Glenn Close coming back to cast into this movie. And the last of the casting so far of this week was of uncertainty for anyone at the moment, as whether or not to be more on the way by the time I start recording this, is on Thursday. We have the MCU star of Jeremy Renner, as well as a case of 70s Show and Family Guy actress Mila Kunis, and rounding out the cast at the moment with late Thursday, early Friday, with another Irish actor of Daryl McCormack, who you may know from Peaky Blinders and Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. So far, the casting of this film has to say top notch. It's beautiful. I love all these casting members, and it's been all the other films, and I am sure looking forward to seeing who else will be joining this cast of this new murder mystery, and where it'll all go from there as they begin to start production, I believe sometime this month in June, for its release next year on Netflix. But I'd love to know your thoughts on the cast of this movie so far. Who else, in your own opinion, do you see getting onto this star-studded cast of characters? Let me know your thoughts down below, and let's discuss the opinions there. Now, our next story is taking a focus to the world of animation, and in particular we are focusing on the announcement of some rumors coming to us from one of my personal favorite studios of Pixar. Now, it has been seen the likes of Pixar has seen a mixed array of appeal over this decade in particular, where they have been neglected by the House of Mouse when I believe their films are more better than the likes of Disney's own Annie Fairs. Like, probably the closest of ones probably on par is probably Encanto, because in the case Raya was well liked but has been forgotten at this point. I don't think anyone watched Strange World, and Wish, well, I'm going to save that for the review. It's been a bit of a mixed reception. I might give those other to review either in a rewatch-a-thon or I might do little short reviews, but delve into it later. And it is a case that the first films of this release just a week or so before the pandemic hit, which was Onward, and following free were just pushed Disney Plus and no extra costs when they fit more into being on the big screen. And I'm glad that they did re-release on the big screen, which I went to go see, and they were fucking great. And the last two released in the cinemas of Lightyear and Elemental had a bit of a mixed but reception, where Lightyear surprisingly bombed and Elemental looked like it was going to be following the same steps, but then made a magical recovery. And I'm happy that I did. And if you want to hear my thoughts on it, you can actually check the video down below in the description or up there in the annotation. Now, it has been seen that they're making a comeback with hope with this year's anticipated release of Inside Out 2 releasing in about 2 weeks' time. It seems like the franchise and reboots of series may be the way forward for them in particular, to get them back in the limelight and to get a bit more cash. As according to some reports, it seems Pixar may be looking to return to some series to help with like recent layoffs and stuff, as we rumored that we may be seeing a third film for both the Finding Nemo / Dory series and of The Incredibles that may release following the next sequel confirmed for release, which of course somehow Toy Story 5. Don't know how they're going to work that series, but you know, that's the base on me anyway. Now, to me personally, I see this as both a positive and a negative. As in the positive, I would enjoy going back to the worlds created in those series. I know there is a concept story for a Finding Nemo sequel that initially was planned years ago, even before the release and planned story of Finding Dory, that could work, and the likes of a new Incredibles film could be appealing, and hopefully we'll have more time to develop and make something on par with the original classic. And it's the same here, while I do not hate the sequel, it has its issues. I know Casey was rushed out, they had to move it up a year early because Toy Story 4 was not coming together or something, but that's the kind of case. But I hope we get fair balance of original concepts, and because the film felt a bit like there was an idea of it. But on the negative side, I'm hoping it's not just going to be solely focused on the sequels like what the 2010s were, and we actually get a lot more original concepts, like the film that's supposed to, like, you know, the upcoming Aliyah that's coming out next year, or a film I heard they're planning a musical or something, or even one diverse where I think the main lead is supposed to be a 14-year-old transgender child, I believe, which is very positive. It's been around for a while, so whether that's come out or not is anyone's guess. I love this because I love the studio for their creativity in creating new worlds and concepts, and, you know, pulling at the heartstrings and even having a laugh now and again from the films. So I do hope that there will be a fair balance, and it's not going to be solely another similar situation in the 2010s where there was only 4 originals and 6 sequels over the course of the 2010 to 2019. But I hope for the best for this company, because I would hate to see them shut down from all this, because they are very talented people. But what are your own thoughts on this, and would you be up for a third Finding Nemo and Incredibles film, and do you see them more franchising as a good approach, or would you like more originals as well? Let me know what you think of it all down below in the comments. Next up story on the list is a mixed gathering of news in relation to some more casting news, rumours and directors for upcoming projects in the process. And we're giving them all a quick rundown of this next story. So we'll start with this updating over the last few weeks, of course, which is on the basis of returning to the park once again, as we're talking about the process of the next entry in the Jurassic World series. Now, as I've specified in the past few weeks, we got confirmation there was a new one on the way. We have a writer, David Coep, who wrote the first 2 Jurassic Park films. It's now being directed by Gareth Edwards. It's releasing on July 2nd, 2025. And has some rumored unconfirmed castings of Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, and Rupert Friend. And now we have another one to add to that list as a new addition of rumored casting in the form of Oscar-winning actor of Mahershala Ali in the upcoming title. It's not been finalized as of yet. They're currently about to be finalized in the works, but I'm sure we'll see the confirmation for the whole ordeal come the start of production come this month, or of who the full cast is, because they start filming this month anyway. Next, we're jumping from one upcoming MCU star with another long-standing addition to the series that comes in the form with Chris Hemsworth. Now, while he may be gracing film screens right now in Furiosa, there is another project that he'll be making a presence with real soon with the animated film of Transformers 1. But this may not be the only project of the robots in disguise that he'll be a part of, as it's been reported that he may be appearing in the next live-action Transformers G.I. Joe crossover film. It's unclear whether he'll be the likes of a flashback to voicing a young Optimus Prime that he'll be voicing in Transformers 1, or he could be one of the members of the G.I. Joe. We don't know yet. But as things stand, the film casting is up in the air at the moment until they start production down the line. Next is actually one I forgot to write about, but it's a little update on something. Apparently, Captain America Brave New World is entering into another wave of reshoots. In particular, the reason for these reshoots is that it's now been confirmed that Giancarlo Esposito, who you know as Gus Fring from Breaking Bad or from shows like The Boys and other stuff, has now been cast in a villainous role for this next Captain America movie. And some speculation could be this could be a new version of like one of the X-Men. There's been talks that he could be Magneto or he could be Doctor Doom. Now I don't know who he could play because we already know that it was is it the Mind or something? It's the character that was in Hulk. That was like teased all the way back in 2008 is one of the villains in this one. So whether or not it's going to be a big known villain is unclear right now, but this could see a delay for Captain America from its February release next year, but we'll see how it turns out. Next is hoping that for now, you have the power that has been known for a very short time. Though I forgot to mention it because it's been busy and I'm all over the place in my head and everything else, that we're getting a new live-action film adaptation of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe that's in the works. But the only news known for the longest while is that it's being directed by Leica CEO and Bumblebee director of Travis Knight. And it looks like we have another addition to the growing cast, as we have found their He-Man in the form of British actor of Nicholas Galitzine. Now I've not seen much of his work, although I've heard Red, White, Royal Blue is a very good performance, and he does sound like a promising up-and-coming actor. Hopefully he'll do well, and I'm sure more of the cast and plot will begin to make its way to the information superhighway by the time it's released in June of 2026. And lastly, we're looking more at a director change this time, and this is looking more towards the film series of The Exorcist. And as has been announced that one of the Masters of Horror of Mike Flanagan has been announced to be helming the next film in the franchise. It's now confirmed this will not be the planned new film in the trilogy, as due to the poor reception and box office of last year's Believer, it looks like the next film of Deceiver may have been scrapped for this new one instead, but I'm sure we will see how that turns out when the film comes along eventually. But what are your thoughts and opinions on everything that's announced and discussed in the story, and are you excited for any of these projects? Let me know your thoughts and everything about it down below in the comments. And this week we got a surprise announcement of a new state of play from the company of PlayStation. This new story will be focusing on just giving a quick roundup of some of the announcements, all shown in a short and slightly underwhelming event. So let's go through all as was announced. So they started the announcement with basically about a third of the actual direct was focused on the cinematic trailer, followed by a gameplay trailer for the new game known as Concord that was announced sometime last year or 2 years ago, which gave me a bit of an Overwatch / Suicide Squad Killer Justice League vibe to it, but it does look visually appealing, and the game will be able to play in beta sometime this July before a release a month later on August 23rd. The second announcement from the Direct was that a new PC port was revealed in the form of 2022's God of War Ragnarok, with some new add-ons and features for playing on the PC, and has received a release of PC on September 19th. Next after that was the announcement of the newest entry in the Dynasty Warriors series, with Origins that has been unveiled and announced for release on the console sometime next year in 2025. And following Dynasty Warriors, they unveiled a new anime-style open-world dress-up game of Infinity Nikki that will also let you play as a cat with a little wall hand. It's adorable thing, with confirmation of coming in the third quarter for a beta test, with possibly released later in the year, but probably 2025 for that one. And following this was a new fantasy action RPG of Ballad of Artara that does look visually cool and interesting, and may check out down the line with the game launches sometime next year in 2025. We then got a look at Skydance Games' newest entry for the VR, with Behemoth that looks like a Skyrim-based adventure mixed with Shadow of the Colossus, and look like it might be worth trying when it comes out this fall. And the only other entry for the VR at this event was with the first look at gameplay for the new game based on the Alien series with Rogue Incursion, that I do hope will feel like a proper Alien Isolation sequel, and if not, then I hope that we will eventually get a sequel for it some point eventually. But this one looks like it'll be scaring up the holiday season later this year, as releasing in holiday 2024. Next it was unveiled was a look at the new Marvel Overwatch type game of Rivals, with the confirmation of the closed beta will be arriving on the PS5 some point in July. Following that came with a new Wuxia open world game in China of Where Winds Meet that's full of martial arts mysteries that'll be coming soon to the PS5. No day's been announced, so probably maybe next year or two. We then got a new look at the upcoming remakes of the 2015 horror of Until Dawn. It does look a little mixed in terms of the lighting, looking a little weird in some scenes of the trailer, unless it's just the aesthetic for it, though it has fixed one or two aspects, and from the trailer maybe adding some scenes or changes some new additions, hopefully giving at least two of the characters that basically got shot in this game a bit more of a screen time because they disappear halfway through and don't show up to the very last section. And has now got a release window of fall for the PS5 and PC. Next on this was a new look at the sequel to The Path of Exiles that will be coming to early access later this year of the console with a new edition of couch co-op and online play of the game as well. We got a new look before a massive direct focus on the remake of the beloved Silent Hill 2 that looks great but has some issues from what I've seen online and has been announced for release date for just in time for Halloween the 8th of October. We then received a new look at the story and world and creatures for the upcoming new look of Monster Hunter Wilds will be dropping sometime next year, before the direct ended with a final new announcement and look of a new game in the Astrobot series that will see you playing as a plucky little robot on a quest to rescue his crew across the vast universe in space and fighting monsters and stuff, and has now been released for a September 6th release of this year. Which brings the end to everything that was announced at this state of play, which feels a bit underwhelming. There's a lot of stuff that was kind of overlooked, but I'm guessing given we're heading to the summer months now, the summer of gaming and stuff, I feel that's when we're going to see some stuff. So fair enough, but could have been a lot more. But what are your thoughts on everything that was announced at this event, and is there anything in particular you're looking forward to playing yourselves? Let me know what you think of it down below in the comments. And as always, that's all the news that we have for this week.
Oh, what a day.
And with all of that, that ends episode 54 of Weird Mind Newsroom. And looking at the date, it's exactly 1 year ago today that I started my YouTube career. I uploaded my very first video, the very first Weird Mind Newsroom episode. Can you believe that? Back when I was fresh-faced and, was still full of anxiety and other shit, but less dealing shits. But anyway, I'd like to thank you all for following me on this first year of stuff. The last year has been a bit... can't really describe it. It's, I appreciate everyone who's been checking out my videos, supporting me for stuff, watching my stuff, my reviews, this weekly series, and all other stuff that I create. I know it's probably not the most appealing for everybody, and I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, my own stuff as well, but I appreciate for people being there and just watching and enjoying my content, and I hope to bring more and more over time with this next year and onwards into this career of YouTube, and hopefully people will enjoy my stuff and branch out over time. Now, a few little updates. So my Argyle review is currently out at the moment, so you can go check that out now on my channel. I've also, probably by the time this goes up, I will have 2 parts to the Hogwarts Legacy now uploaded. Part 2 uploaded there I think on Friday, and part 3 should be uploaded hopefully by the time this one goes up, so probably our Sunday or Monday. We'll have to say. More reviews are probably on the way. I'm going to basically make some short ones and make some long form ones. I'm going to look for my list of what's next and stuff and see which ones I'm going to keep as long form, short form. There might be some case where I'm going to do reviews for if it's a show that's been out that has multiple seasons, I might split them into multiple videos or lump them all into a big long video. I don't know. Besides that, the rewatchathon is coming along as well. The long form audience choice video that I'm working on, that's currently in development right now. I'm just going to try and get the brain working when a lot of things have been going on myself that I need to sort out. And we'll get to that eventually. Other bits as well is basically more gameplays. I am going to fix as well the audio issue. I think I may have figured out what might be causing the sort of echoey voice. So I apologize in case if you're watching and you're kind of a bit distracted by the echo voices of the game, but I will fix that. But besides all that, I think that's everything on my end. So if you enjoyed this video, I want to see more from me and continue on my journey into year 2 of YouTube creation, then simply like the video and subscribe as I upload weekly and try to upload more frequently. A lot of stuff now in particular when I get the chance. Let me know your thoughts on everything that was discussed this week, from the new releases, the trailers, and news. I'd love to hear all your thoughts down below, and let's start this conversation in the comments. And share it around to people who may enjoy my content, just spread it around and see people who might enjoy it and sub if you want. But yeah, I'm leaving it there. So thanks for all for watching. You all stay being wonderful people, because you all are wonderful people. Have a great day every day, and keep being you, because no one else can do what you do. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next videos. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.